All right. Welcome back to the PokemonRadar Podcast. Today, I guess I'll start like season 2 or something. I really don't know what I'm doing here, but I've been gone for a couple weeks. I've been doing some moving across the country here, so I apologize for the delay of podcasts. But today, I guess to start off season 2 of the PokeRadar Podcast, we have a wonderful guest, someone that I'm looking forward to getting to meet. He's one of the all-powerful moderators of E4 and one of the great collectors of our community. Today we have FourthStarTCG. What's up, man?
You doing? How you doing?
Good, good. Should I call you Ethan? Ethan's easier for me. At least that's what I know you as.
That's
So,
perfect.
all right, I'll refer to you as Ethan. You know, all of our Pokemon names tend to get a little long, and we get
After
annoyed
a
saying them.
while, it's a little difficult to keep everything straight.
Yep, yep. So, what's going on, man? How you been?
Good. I am in university, so I just finished up my reading week, and now back on the grind. But enjoying it and trying my best to carve out some free time for Pokemon.
Good, good. What school are you going to, if you don't mind me asking?
Queen's University. It's in
Queens.
Kingston, Ontario.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you're a good old Canadian.
Up north. I grew up in the States, but I go
Okay.
to school in Canada since I'm a citizen, so I can go for much lower rates, which is fantastic.
Okay. Cool. Cool. So we're hanging out with PFM up there and
Yeah,
having a.
actually, oh goodness, what was it? I think it's 2 weeks ago. I hung out with him and Reina for a night, so that was fun.
Oh, cool. Cool. Well, let's start this off like I've started them all off. I want to get to know you a little bit better. I know we've crossed paths before at Worlds. I know you were at DC this past year. Were you at Anaheim in
I
2017?
was not.
No.
So
Okay.
I got back into the hobby around 2014, and I went to Worlds in 2015 in Boston.
Okay.
Uh, but 16 and 17 being out on the West Coast, it was too difficult to get flights and stuff out there. From LA or Boston to LA, which is where I spend my summers in Boston. The flights are like 500 to $700, which is too much.
Yeah.
Uh, but the past 2 years, I did go to Nashville, and I was in DC this past year, and always just a fantastic time at Worlds.
Yeah, it's great. I can't wait for next year's. I don't know if or I guess this year since it's 2020, but
Uh,
yeah, looking forward to that. But so you got back into the hobby in 2014, which is actually, pretty early compared to a lot of people that are doing this thing, and at least the people that we talk with. Um, what was what was the thing that caught your eye to get back into Pokemon? I mean, uh, what was 2014? Were you in high school? What
yeah,
what what
so
were you
I'm
doing?
I'm I feel fairly young compared to all the other collectors. Yeah, so 2014, I was in high school. Um, I had collected as a kid through probably maybe the beginning of elementary and middle school, of course. And then, as most of us do, I sold my collection off on Craigslist for, I think I actually got pretty good value for it back in like, goodness, probably 2008, 2009 when I sold it.
Hmm.
Um, but, I think one day it originally started with just like watching Pokemon videos on YouTube and stuff. Primetime Pokemon, of course.
Hmm.
He was a big reason that I got back into the hobby. Um, and after I watched those videos, like card openings and stuff, really sort of rekindled the passion. And then what really did it for me was I went on like Amazon and Troll and Toad, and I saw all these cards that I had idolized as a kid that I never thought I could have, and they were like, so and these were EX series cards, EX cards, um, some of the base set cards even, and I saw them for like $5 to $10. Um, and I had a part-time job at the time, so I had some disposable income. Certainly not much, but enough that I could, you know, uh, drop some of it on some Pokemon cards.
Hmm.
So that's how I got back into the hobby, just by buying stuff off of Amazon and Troll Toad to start. Um, and that was a blast, and I loved doing that. And then before I knew it, I was watching Silver Snorlax and PSA grading, and then I found E4, and it was all downhill from there.
Downhill meaning your bank account, but uphill meaning your collections.
Absolutely, yes.
That's awesome. That's funny. I mean, you went to Amazon and Troll and Toad before even eBay, which tends to be the first place people go.
It took me a while to find eBay,
Wow.
um, just because you know, something I was familiar with, you know, just from my parents buying stuff and me buying stuff.
Hmm.
Uh, and you know, I wasn't doing too much searching around. It was basically just like I figured the prices that were there were the prices that the cards were worth, you know?
Yeah. And that was so that's kind of the sets you grew up with then was the EX series. Or were you in a
So
WotC beforehand?
not really. I remember friends of mine, like back when I was very young, having base set cards and WotC cards, but I was never really interested in them. Um, it was just sort of like, oh wow, like I remember base set Zapdos. One of my friends had a base set Zapdos, and that was iconic. That was one of the first cards that I bought when I got back into the hobby. Um, but back when I had my sort of much larger collection was during the EX series, so I had not a ton, but several EX cards, and I had one gold star card for a very short period of time before I traded it to one of my friends for several EX cards.
So you like those
Um,
the EX the shiny silver borders and all that.
oh yes, yeah. So that's what the majority of my collection now is.
Okay, that's cool. So those were the packs you were opening then. You were opening up the Team Rocket Returns, the EX Deoxys or Delta Species or that kind of those are the packs that you were buying when you were into Pokemon. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I wasn't buying too many packs
Okay.
because back then it was my parents who would be doing the buying, and they weren't into buying Pokemon cards. But um, what I did get, I did manage to get a couple packs of EX Power Keepers,
Mm,
uh, and that was fun to open. And once I got sort of more into it, it was in the beginning of the Diamond and Pearl era, and I would buy theme decks because the theme decks you could get them for $10 or something, and you were guaranteed a holo card,
okay.
um, which I was very happy about because I hated opening a pack and getting nothing. It was the worst feeling.
Were they not the same hollow card in that era of
Oh
theme
yeah,
deck?
it was. For all the theme decks, you just got like the one sort of
Okay,
holo card that you could see, but I was happy with that.
gotcha. That's interesting. So, were you playing any of the video games then during this time?
Not really. I would play on my friends' systems. I never had a Game Boy, but of course, you know, several of my friends did. So I'd play. I'd play Ruby Sapphire. I remember my back in elementary school, like everyone was talking about how they caught Groudon or Kyogre.
Hmm.
Uh, I remember being amazed when one of my friends said that they'd caught a Groudon in a Great Ball. Uh, that really just sort of blew me away. I didn't think that was possible. I think you had to use an Ultra Ball.
Right.
Uh, yeah, but so I have a long history with the games. Believe I got X and Y about a couple months after release, and ever since then I've played every main series game on release, which uh, is always a ton of fun.
Okay, that's cool. I think you're the first person to have, I guess, kind of the cards be the first introduction, I guess, of Pokemon, or the big reason why you were into Pokemon. Everyone, at least, I'm on that cusp of being started with base set, but everyone I talk to seems to be red version, blue version. That's what got started, and then jumped into the anime and then jumped into the cards. So it's kind of cool that the cards were the first thing that you kind of saw, or what really brought you into loving Pokemon.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's, like even back when I wasn't playing the games too much, just the cards were amazing to me. I loved them. Um, and yeah, really fun to keep doing it now.
Did you have any brothers or sisters you were collecting with, or was it just kind of you and your school friends?
I have three younger siblings, but none of them were really too into Pokemon. It was basically just me and my friends.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, did they how long were you doing the Pokemon then, or did it kind of move on pretty quick? Because when I was doing Pokemon as a kid, it was elementary school, and then everyone did it, and then as we got to middle school, it started to fall off, and then high school it really fell off, and like to me, Pokemon didn't exist during that period. So you kind of picked it up in high school, had friends that were doing it. How long did that last for?
Well, I didn't. The original time when I was collecting was really sort of um, in like elementary and middle
Oh,
school.
right. You got back
Once
into
like
it.
you got
Okay.
everything sort of, yeah.
Okay.
Um, when I got back into it, of course, being in high school, no one knew about it.
Hmm.
um, yeah, tried to keep it because Pokemon's lame,
Of course.
as is the thought of the high school student trying to be cool.
Right.
Um, but thankfully that mindset has passed me by.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I envy that. Looking back, everyone says now we all wish we got back into it earlier because, I mean, of course, with the value of what these things are worth, but just the aspect of collecting is so much fun, and finding all this stuff is so much fun. So I wish I could have started that earlier and been more accepting of that. I guess that thought around Pokemon at an earlier time than I did. But
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty glad I got back in when I did, just because of where the market was at the time. It allowed me to sort of live a lot of the things that I felt like I'd missed out on.
mhm.
So like I had never opened a bunch of packs as a kid, and I was able to do that when I got back into the hobby in 2014, because like EX packs were worth nothing then. I would buy tins with four EX series packs, two Power Keepers, a Delta Species, and a Dragon Frontiers
Mhm.
for $20 to $25.
Wow.
Just like when I'd get the money, I'd buy a couple tins, I'd open the packs, um, and that was a blast. I was so happy that I got to do that. Um, I think I opened like 20 Holland Phantoms packs once. Um, and then eventually I think it was a lot of 5 Hidden Legends packs. And I pulled an EX card from that. That's the only EX card I pulled ever.
Oh,
But I
wow.
was really happy that I was able to do that, just because these days trying to pull an EX card would be prohibitively expensive, especially with weight packs and everything. So
Yeah, absolutely. That's the same feeling I have with being able to open stuff early on. Like, yeah, I was opening jungle packs that were $10, $15 each, and base set packs that were 30, 35, and that was very expensive still. But yeah, I look at it today and it's all, 3, 4 times that, and there's no way that I'm going to be opening packs like I did when I first got back into it. So I'm very happy that I got to do that at a larger scale, ripping through packs. There's no better feeling.
I mean, you've lived the ultimate collector's dream, I have to say,
Yeah, yeah.
with that first edition base Charizard pull.
Yeah, that was the original goal when I got back into it, was wanting to open up that card. And I mean, it's unbelievable that I got to do that. I can't recommend anyone opening up those packs because it's stupid, but oh my God, it's no better feeling. That's the greatest the greatest thing that ever could have happened. I'm
Like,
so
and you can't put a price on that,
oh
like.
no, no. I mean, I will once I get it back from Beckett. But yeah, that experience is absolutely priceless, and being able to share it with a bunch of people was great, and all the love and feedback I got from people was phenomenal. So I'm just glad I got to share it. It's funny after doing that. I have a feeling that a lot more of those packs are going to start to get opened. Um, for a long time we've seen first edition packs, being sold and all that, but no one really ever imagined heavy packs being available. When Swolepoke and I sold a couple, I've seen a lot more pop up. And by a lot more, I mean like four or five.
Of course, that's the numbers you're talking about. But
But yeah, it's interesting. I'm curious to see if another one will get opened, or even two, in the next few months, because I know people have them and are itching to open them.
and to me, it's just if I think if you can guarantee a heavy pack, just I would not recommend it at all as any kind of value search proposition, investment or whatever. Um, but just for the pure enjoyment value, I
Hmm.
don't think you can get anything better than opening up a heavy first edition base pack.
Yeah, it's great. If you have the
And as much
opportunity.
as I disagree with pack weighing
Hmm.
morally,
Right,
uh, these days there's no alternative.
right. That's something that, I mean, I've been doing kind of since I found out about it, pack weighing. Um, but as long as I'm honest with myself and with the stuff that I sell, I feel morally okay with it. But I completely understand your side of things, and it's dangerous to have that out there, having um, all these search packs and certain people, which is most people, selling these things as unweighed or unsearched, even though they know in their hearts that they are. Um, and it makes it difficult for us, for the hobby, to grow a little bit, to get past that. Um, so it's a very, very gray area in any card hobby. But yeah, it's a part of it now. We got to deal with it. So here we are.
Definitely.
But yeah, so so when you got back into it, 2014, what was that, black and white era, somewhere
It was
around there?
just around the end of Black and White and the beginning of XY.
Okay.
Um,
So
and
how
XY Flashfire were
were you
out
ripping
right
through
then.
packs then? Were you a binder collector? Were you trying to complete these new sets? What was your goal when you got back into it?
I mean, when I
Uh, uh,
got back into it, just sort of like
Buying
as
those
every young
EXs.
collector, when I got back into it, as every young collector does, I just like bought what I thought looked cool. Um, and I say young collector as in not necessarily age, but sort of time back in the hobby.
Yeah.
I see this happening with a lot of people. Like you don't know what to collect, so you just buy new stuff, buy what looks cool. So that's what I was doing. I was ripping a bunch of packs. The ones that were out then were a lot of black, white, and XY, early XY. Uh, and yeah, I pulled some good stuff, pulled a lot of bad stuff. um, but yeah, once I found once I actually did find eBay and start doing a lot more buying, I did sort of focus in on the EX era, of course, but also I really liked the black and white and XY era. Um, the full arts I think are possibly some of the best looking cards that Pokemon's ever printed, um, just in terms of beauty of artwork, um, and eye appeal. I think the original base set and the EX era is amazing, but like some of the newer full arts are just so nice. Um, so I still sort of maintain that interest to this day.
Okay. Yeah,
But
I've seen on your Instagram you got the old Zekrom and some of the older uh, Groudon Darkrai full arts, and even up to the newer, what's this guy's name? Lysandre.
yeah, those are. You might be going through some old pictures there.
Oh yeah, I'm diving
Uh,
into your Instagram here. You got all the trainers in here
yeah.
too. You got the Primal Clash stuff. You got a lot of Japanese things in here. Um,
Yep.
I think that's like 95% of your Instagram is Japanese.
Yeah. So the majority of my collection is Japanese. So the main things that I collect are Japanese EX series. So really, actually, this past summer I was able to complete the entirety of the Japanese EX series set-based EX cards in PSA 10, um,
Oh wow.
which was really cool. So I have all of those now. That was a several year long journey to get all of those. Um,
And you probably
and
graded
just
most of those yourself too,
did
if not
because
all.
I'd say the vast majority I graded myself. There were some sets which were literally just I built from the ground up. Um, Japanese Dragon Frontiers, when I first started, had zero EXs even graded. Um, and within a couple years, I was able to get the entire set in PSA 10. And even to this day, the numbers of the pops on all those EX cards are still less than 10. I think many
Wow.
of them are less than 5. Um, I know Swolepoke Jeremy, he's actually going after a set.
Oh really?
And he's getting there, but
I didn't know that about him. That's interesting. Yeah, it's one of those things that obviously will catch on at some point. It's just a time game um, with those numbers, whether the pop report increases or the value of the cards dramatically increase. So that's kind of cool that you were able to kind of start that yourself and grow that yourself and know that you graded the first copies of a lot of these cards. Um, I mean, were you obviously you were buying a lot of loose singles to do so, or
yeah, definitely.
collections? Yeah.
Loose singles were most I had actually fairly good luck, I would say. I found a couple um, sellers and sites which would, send 50 to 75% mint to gem mint cards, um, which, was pretty amazing. Um, so after but I also like I got in at a good time when not many people were interested in it. Um, and deals would kind of sit there because people didn't know what they were looking at, or people weren't really interested in it. um, so after that I was able to, I think I hit some big wins, like winning full sets of EX Rocket Returns, or in Japanese it's Rocket Gang Strikes Back.
Hmm.
Winning like full EX sets of that, which were all mint condition. It's like winning I think like the fire red leaf green legendary birds for like 300 yen, um,
Wow.
which just like ridiculous. Um, and yeah, and all of those would come back PSA 10. So I did get fairly lucky. Uh, but then again, there are some cards which were, back when I was collecting back in, or trying to really put the set together back in 2015, 2016, um, doing sort of the meat and bones of it. It was fairly difficult. There was a lot of cards that had very low population, because there just weren't many people interested in it, and very difficult to pull as well. Stuff like, I remember there being some other collectors who were interested in it, not necessarily on the forum anymore, um, but people were offering, $100 for mint ungraded copies of a couple of these Japanese EX cards, just because they were so hard to find in mint condition.
Well, did you
Um,
stockpile them up?
well, a lot of what I would do when I would get duplicates is I would sell them off. I was collecting as a high school and a college student. I really didn't have a lot of disposable income, so any duplicates that I would have were sold in order to
Buy the next ones.
fund progress for the rest of the set. But
Yeah, a lot of us still do that, even though we a lot of us still probably have the means to hold on to some stuff. We hate having duplicates or too much inventory. So that
Uh,
makes sense. Unfortunate, but that makes sense.
yeah. I mean, these days I do have more duplicates, especially just sort of like knowing personally how difficult some of these cards are to find and to grade. Uh, I mean, we think Japanese cards are easy to grade in PSA 10, and for the most part they are. If you can find one that's fairly mint, um, but the print run of Japanese EX series is so small, um, and just like the dynamics of what Pokemon was like at the time, really weren't a lot of collectors, more players. Um, it is fairly difficult to find gem mint copies these days, and even just like, I've continued to buy cards and stuff, and I would say that the available condition has significantly decreased even over the last 2 to 3 years. It's much less likely that when you're buying cards, they're going to be gem mint today than it was even back in like 2016, 2017.
Yeah. Did they have? Is there first edition uh, of that era for Japanese?
Yes, there is, but it's sort of like it's one of those things. It's like XY, where first edition is sort of the standard,
Hmm.
uh, and unlimited is for many sets much rarer.
Or
Uh,
non-existent?
yeah, yeah. I think
I don't know if they ever.
certainly for stuff like Rocket Returns, unlimited is rare. Um, Flight of Legends, which is Fire Red Leaf Green. I have not seen a lot of unlimited stuff there.
Are you chasing any of that, or is that just not on your mind?
I don't, for my collection, I don't specify between first edition and unlimited. I'd say the vast majority, maybe 75%, is first edition. Um, but I don't really care. I mean, it's the same artwork, it's just
Yeah.
one stamp. There's not really a lot of value difference in Japanese, um, between the two. Um, but yeah, so that's not really something that I care too much about. Um, some sets it does make a difference though. Dragon Frontiers. So the reason why Dragon Frontiers is such a hard set to complete, such a hard set to grade, is because of horrendous centering issues.
Mm.
Um, so it's sort of like I'd say maybe 5 to 10% of the holographic cards. So that's including EXs and the Delta species hollows in that set are in within the parameters for PSA 10. Um,
Wow.
it's much better with unlimited edition. Um, so for Dragon Frontiers, a lot of my uh, EX targets, the cards that I wanted to buy, were the unlimited edition versions, just because it was much more likely that those would be better centered.
That's interesting to see from Japanese cards.
It's really that's the one set that has a lot of quality issues. Is Dragon Frontiers, which stinks because I think it's one of the best sets.
Wow. Did you ever buy and open Japanese sealed stuff of this era or
I
um,
don't think I've ever opened, just because it's we think English EX is hard to find. Japanese EX is non-existent.
wow.
Um,
So the stuff that you
there's
bought
some
earlier on when you got in was all English that you opened up?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, the English was much more accessible.
Hmm.
I even think, you know, at some point there would have been some opportunities to open packs, but um, I think even today the prices for Japanese boxes are similar, if not greater than English EX boxes.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah, I just
you're
bought
looking at
these premium collector boxes of EX Deoxys that have two Pop Series one packs and then two EX Deoxys and one EX Team Rocket returns. I mean, I paid
sounds beautiful.
500 each. I opened one of them because it was ripped, and he gave me a better deal on it. Um, Complete waste, obviously.
Yeah.
But the other one is really nice looking, and I mean, obviously it's not a booster box, but you have a sealed. I've got a sealed product that has unweighed packs in it, so it's pretty cool to have. And
The
I haven't really looked up to see
fees on
what they're worth, but it's a pretty cool item to have.
the EX Seal product is skyrocketing these days. It's insane,
Yeah.
at least to me, you know. But
Oh no,
what, six
absolutely.
years ago, I was paying 25 bucks for 4 packs. Like,
It's crazy. I mean, I've been telling myself for the past year or two to buy EX like Sandstorm, or like the stuff that doesn't have the gold stars in it, or even the sets now like afterwards like Diamond and Pearl and all that. But I just never have, and obviously all the prices are going up, and they will go up. Probably not the same rate as we've seen from some things, but everything's gonna continue to grow. It's just a matter of being readily available and searching out the stuff. But I don't have those ties to that era, so it's tough for me to, I guess, speculate on it and hold on to a bunch of it.
I mean, even me with ties to that era, I mean, $500 for what, 3 packs? That seems insane.
Yeah,
Even like to guarantee that they're unweighed and stuff.
yeah, that's
Like,
true.
it's just $500. That can get you a significant majority of the PSA 10EX cards, you
Yeah.
know? Um, so I look at that and I say, these EX cards are seriously undervalued right now.
Oh my God,
Um,
it's scary undervalued. Um,
People have started realizing, even just in the last couple months, the prices on these EX cards have gone up significantly.
mhm.
Um, for example, I like the big EX card, Charizard EX Fire Red Leaf Green. Um, Over the summer, two auctioned for $530. I bought one of them. Um,
Your last post.
and yes, yeah. And there's one on PWCC now. What is it? 6 months later, for it's at $900, and there's still like 2 or 3 days left in the auction.
Wow.
Um, so that's just close to doubled in value over 6 months.
Yeah.
Um, and we're seeing that with other EX cards too. The Rockets EX ones are really going up in value. Um,
Well, you look at
really,
these sealed box prices, which I'm more a seal collector than anything. You see EX Deoxys, it's a $10,000-$12,000 box. EX Team Rocket Returns is a $10,000 box. I mean, you get the Gold Star Rayquaza maybe in the Deoxys box. A
you
PSA
get the Gold
10,
Star Rayquaza what in like
one
every
in
6 boxes?
yeah.
Like,
And then when I was looking at this stuff, maybe a year or a few months ago, you see all the PSA 10 EXs from that set, which there's not many that are that attractive name wise, but they were selling for 40, $50. And then you
it's
jump
nuts.
up to the Rayquaza, 9,000. So like there's got to be some sort of balance there at some point, and I know that Rayquaza is not going to be dropping that Gold Star Rayquaza is not going to be dropping down in price. So it just makes sense that these EXs are going to really start to spike, especially names like you said, Charizard. Oh, you got the Lugia that you posted, even the Latios that you have there too. Like those are just some big names on some
That's
very
so
undervalued
after I
cards.
finished the Japanese, I thought, okay, maybe I can go after English. And I'm still not really sure about what I'm going to do with English, whether I'm going to go for certain EXs, whether I'm going to go for the entire set, um, or what. But I figured, can't hurt by starting out with some big names.
Right.
Um,
Especially this
so yeah, over
Lugia.
the
That
summer,
that art is beautiful.
so nice. Really, just like it was, that's one of the premier EX cards. I think like not really in terms of price. I think it's still sitting around 400 or something. Um, which is like I feel like there's a lot of EXs which are in that $400 to $500 range, especially these days. But I feel like just the artwork, the fact that it was used in a World Champions deck, just so much about it just makes it amazing.
Playability, rarity, artwork.
Uh,
Yeah, it's got a lot of the check marks. I mean, for like this Charizard here, um, what I mean, what's the highest end card in the EX Fire Red Leaf Green? They have gold stars in that set, right?
oh, so there are no gold stars in Fire Red Leaf
Oh,
Green.
so Charizard's the card in that
Charizard's
set.
the top card.
What are sealed
Yeah.
boxes going for? Like 5 grand, 6 grand, and you got
Man,
the top card in
I'm
there
not.
right now. That's 900,000 bucks.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculously undervalued, even at 900.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like I was telling people at Worlds, I think Charizard EX Fire Red Leaf Green PSA 10 is a $2,000 card. Um, and like I don't think that's, people were laughing at me a little, but I don't think that's too far out there.
I think that's
Uh,
low. I mean, I have no idea what the pop
yeah, I
report
mean
looks
like
like, but just looking at every.
170.
Oh, really? Okay, so that's pretty high
Uh, yeah.
for a
But
lower.
then when you compare it to stuff like modern Charizards, like so I did this sort of analysis back in September, and hopefully it'll eventually get posted on Ludkins, as I'll write articles for them every now and then.
Okay.
Um, but I looked at like all the Charizard chase card prices, first edition Dark Charizard, Charizard EX, Flash Fire Charizard Full Art, Burning Shadows, Rainbow Rare, and Shiny Vault, Shiny Charizard from Hidden Fates.
Hmm.
And just when you compare the prices and you see, okay, Burning Shadows Charizard in PSA 10, you know, I don't know if pull up Pokemon price real quick and check out the pop report. I know it's somewhere in the several hundreds of dollars, or it's not several. Yeah. So okay. So here's Burning Shadows Charizard GX population in PSA 10 of 650, and back in I mean, even to this day, it is selling for $700 to $800. I think the most recent sale on Pokemon Price,
Wow.
uh, 850. You know, so
Wow.
if you got a modern Charizard with a population of 650, and it's selling like this set was printed out the wazoo. Yeah, it's Burning Shadows.
Hmm.
Like,
That was kind of the
yes, it's
first
a difficult card to
chase
pull.
Charizard in my eyes. Like chase, because it's one in like 300 packs or something, right?
Yeah, but they're still 650 graded
Yeah,
compared to 170 for Charizard EX.
yeah.
Um, so when you look at those prices and like I did back in September, and I was like, Charizard's EX is at 500 to 600. Well, this card is at 800 plus. It just like it doesn't add up,
What's
And
the
even
EX
first
pull
edition
rate
Dark
out of a
Charizard,
box?
I
Like
think
3 or 4?
you're four, but then I think you were guaranteed. Now, I'm not a huge expert on this, so I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you're guaranteed one of the secret rare birds, so the Zapdos, Moltres, Articuno.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
you're guaranteed to get one of those in every box, and I think it's not, you might be guaranteed one of the starters. Um, but even if I don't really know if
So,
you are,
so you'd probably get a Charizard in one in every 2 or 3 boxes,
I would say so, if
something
not
like that.
greater. Yeah,
And then you look at the Chase Charizards today, you're getting one in every 10 boxes, 9, 8, 9, 10 boxes.
exactly.
But there is the huge overprinting issue, but that's because there's a huge popularity for it. So I think the price kind of obviously it's been settled for a while, but um, I don't. Yeah, looking at the modern stuff, it probably won't grow very much or have too much more space to move. But something like that, your Charizard, the EX there, I think has a lot more room to grow and continue to grow because of the lower numbers and lower popularity at that time for collectors to catch up on it and start showing some more demand. So I think that's the upside for that Charizard to look forward to, especially with how popular the sealed, I guess, well, just that era is now with Gold Stars, even though there's not a Gold Star in that set, just because it's tied in with that era, there will be a lot more growth, I think, for that.
I mean, the Gold Stars are huge fan favorites. Um, Obviously, sort of the one thing that worries me about the Gold Stars is the Gold Star dogs. I don't know if you're aware of that with like the guy who's got basically illegally acquired binders full of these Gold Stars.
Yeah,
Um,
I've read up a little bit on it and I've heard the stories, but I don't really understand it completely. I know I don't know, maybe the recently past few months there was a bunch of them on Troll and Toad or one of those sites. Um,
yeah, I know he sold. So this guy's a scumbag. Um, Card House EU.
right.
Don't buy from him. So he's got these. Basically, he just had binders full of the EX Unseen Forces Gold Star dogs. And I think he sold a bunch to Troll and Toad. He's been selling them off just constantly over the past years. And that's why their prices are so low. Recently, they've actually started to go back up again. Um, I guess even, illegally obtaining thousands of them can't stop the demand, which I think is really interesting.
hmm
Um, but just the fact that that could exist kind of scares me a little bit about the Gold Stars. Uh, Obviously, it's been 10, 15 years since these cards were released, and we haven't seen anything come out like that.
Right.
Um,
I
but
mean,
just the
where
possibility of it happening.
is that like the only place you could get them though? Because you can't get those in packs, right?
Oh, no, you can.
Oh, you can? Which sets? Or which set?
Uh,
Do you
for Unseen Forces.
know? Oh, okay.
So you could get them in packs, but he obviously had a bunch of them which didn't come from packs.
Yeah, he had
Um,
hundreds of each.
they're just ridiculous amounts. Um, there's a video somewhere. He actually tried to get it taken down for copyright. But that's just something I'm wary of with Gold Stars.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, in the past, before even I got into Pokemon, there was a whole Gold Star, like, just, didn't they just tank in price?
They did. They
Uh,
did. Especially, it was actually I think right before I got back into the hobby. They tanked.
yeah, like 2012, 13 or something. I think Scott Pratt did a video on it somewhere in his YouTube log there. He's got a video about it, I think. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense that they're popular and expensive because obviously they're very hard to get. Um,
And they're
but
just beautiful cards as well.
yeah, yeah. But hopefully that knowledge of the dog trio at least can spread out some more so people understand that they should never really reach that value of the other cards. I mean, I don't know if just because that one guy, because Card House EU got them all legally, if they were, overprinted just for him to get them, or if he took up all the population of it. I don't really know what the, I guess, scarcity of them are outside of him.
Yeah. And that's like something we'll never know.
Yeah,
So it's difficult to speculate about because, yeah, who knows where he got that. I don't think they're sort of I don't think they were like I don't think there's a set number for each set and then like he took out let's say 3,000 um and then there were minus 3,000 put into the packs. Uh, like I do think they're overprints if that makes sense.
right. Kind of like the
Uh,
the Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card, if you're familiar with that.
I am not, but I'm sure it's a familiar or similar
Yeah,
type of
they
situation.
Upper Deck actually started printing sheets of it because of how popular the card was back in the day, and they got caught, and Upper Deck lost their license to MLB because of it.
Wow.
So I would hope it wasn't something similar, but uh, that'd be interesting to find out more information on.
Uh,
But all right, so what's next for you? I mean, what are you looking to collect next, or what are you working on now, other than these the English EX, or is that really all that you're focused on?
Well, it's difficult because English EX is a level of price that I just haven't touched before.
Hmm.
The vast majority of these cards are, you're looking at $100 minimum for a standard in a PSA 10, which goes up very quickly. The Rockets EX are 250 to 300 easy. Um, a lot of the popular ones are going up. I've been trying to buy Unseen Forces EXs, Umbreon and Espeon. Those are very difficult. I've been offering, upwards of $450 for those cards, and haven't had any bites yet.
Wow.
Um, so still trying to find those. I think right now I'm just going to continue to buy the English EX cards that sort of interest me the most, that I'm the most familiar with. Um, and also a couple cards which it's a little crazy, but so I love modern full arts, but some of them are just ridiculously hard to grade, especially black and white.
Mm.
Um, like I was really lucky to get the black and white full arts. I did. Um, the Darkrai EX, I graded that one myself. It was in my first ever PSA submission. Um, as a kid, getting back like a Gem Mint 10 on a card that I thought I would never own in a PSA 10 was insane. I was so happy for that. Um, and I've been able to grab more black and white full arts and XY over the last couple of years, but I'm still looking for Primal Clash full arts in PSA 10, as that's sort of like my budget EX series these days.
Okay.
um, so I so Primal Clash, this is sort of interesting. It has two print runs. There was the original print run, which obviously went out when the set released, and the card quality is horrific. Um, there's like white spots on a lot of cards. They're just like a PSA 10 is basically impossible. Um, However, when they reprinted Roaring Skies, and that was I think, something that a lot of collectors were a little anxious about, especially because Roaring Skies booster box prices had gone up
Hmm.
right before this. When they reprinted Roaring Skies, they also reprinted Primal Clash and Ancient Origins. Um, and when they did that, the card quality just shot up significantly. Um, but those print runs are still significantly smaller than the original print runs. And I haven't found any way to tell whether a booster box is from the first print run, where it's basically worthless, or the second print run, where if you buy a box, you could actually get some high quality gradable cards.
Really?
Um,
Wasn't it like 2 years after?
yeah, but I mean, you don't really know.
There's no date stamped on the bottom or anywhere. No copyright date.
Well, I mean, the copyright date is the same um, no matter when it was technically printed.
Wow.
Um,
Well, you see base set. You'll see
but
the 1999 to 2000 on the box.
yeah, yeah. That's sort of like,
That's interesting that they wouldn't update it and put
yeah.
like 2017 print run or 2018 on there being the year that they released it, or I guess re-released it, whatever year it was. Wow.
I'm uh, I'm still looking for Primal Groudon full art in PSA 10. And just because of these, print run shenanigans, the populations are ridiculously low. I think it's the Primal Groudon's less than 10. Um, and then just like the Kyogre Groudon standard full arts. Still looking for those. I'd pay a pretty penny for those. Um, but yeah, that's what I'm going for now. EX series when it comes up. Um, and the new XY and some black and white stuff. Not too much a fan of Sun and Moon.
Yeah.
Um, I do like the tag team special arts. I think those are beautiful. Um, and then like every now and then the Shining Legends is amazing, Hidden Fates very fun,
Hmm.
um, but overall not too interested in the modern stuff these days.
Yeah, I for a little bit I was buying the new sets and collecting binder, doing a binder set, and then it stopped real quick after Evolutions, and then I would bought a decent amount of Shining Legends and Hidden Fates because, like you said, they're fun sets. They have nice cards to go after. Um, so I'm not really ripping modern packs open as much as I thought I would be, and I'm just kind of focusing on the sets that seem more fun and have obviously a closer tie to like Gen 1, Gen 2. um, but yeah, that's interesting. I've never really appreciated the full arts that much. There's a certain few that I like. There's a lot going on, obviously, in the artwork, but I'm starting to see a lot more. Like I fell in love with the stained glass promo from Hidden Face with the three
That's
birds.
beautiful.
I love that card. I think, there's I can't really think of any more off the top of my head, but there's definitely a lot of full arts out there that are finally
Card's
starting to.
ridiculous. It's like $30 in a PSA 10.
Oh
Like,
my,
how can you not buy one of those?
yeah,
You
I
know?
I graded. I sent in 10, got 9 tens, and then I put them on eBay for 35 bucks. They sell within like a minute or two. So yeah,
You
it's
just it's an instant buy for me. I
yeah.
haven't bought one yet, but I will at $30.
Well, just message me after this, and I'll take care of you because I got like three or four left. So
You do? Beautiful.
yeah,
Definitely.
I'll get
That's
you
you've got a sale right now.
one. Perfect. I'll get you one. Awesome. Well, I also wanted to ask you a little bit about E4. Um,
Uh,
so you are a mod, correct?
yes, that is correct.
So you're tied into this community pretty tightly. How long? I mean, you only started in 2014, 15. How did you get involved in E4 so intently?
It was I don't really know exactly how everything came to be. I think like I came across E4 one day. I think I lurked for a little bit and then signed up for an account. And it really sort of like it immediately spoke to me as sort of the community where I wanted to be.
Hmm.
Um, just because I was looking for that, that's something that would differentiate me from, just like the rest of the collector crowd. Um, and, as someone who, was really interested in Pokemon, I, absolutely loved it. But, just like Facebook and these discussion forums and stuff, like, the PokeBeach forums and stuff just didn't feel like, especially as I was getting into graded cards and stuff, like didn't really feel like the place where I could have the discussions that I wanted to have and be with the people who were sort of had similar interests to me.
Hmm.
So E4 was amazing. Um, Found it, got involved very quickly. Um, Started posting a lot, educating myself on, you know, as much as I could about the Pokemon hobby. I was running my YouTube channel much more frequently at that point, so just sort of uh, posting there, posting my collection updates, um, and then after a while, I think the mod team noticed my engagement and my enjoyment, and hopefully a small speck of intelligence
Hmm.
and an ability to perhaps recognize when things are going south. Um, so yeah, I had a couple discussions with Scott and the mod team, and yeah, sort of before I knew it, I was a mod on the forum, which really sort of I think I was 18 or 19 when I was actually made a mod, and that sort of meant quite a bit to me just because I felt like sort of here I am in this community
Right.
uh, that is exactly what I want, where I want to be, and I'm sort of being recognized as someone who can continue to contribute to it.
Yeah,
Um,
and that just goes to show your passion towards all this and working hard towards it, and your continued support of the whole community and Pokemon itself. I mean, Obviously, for at least from the people that are involved in E4, understand the crap you guys have to deal with. So it's very stressful on your end, but I think you guys have done a really good job,
I mean,
keeping it somewhat
90.
sane and and hold it on to the true form of what the community is as collectors. So, blocking out all the sell posts and trade posts and all that stuff that we get sick of seeing, all the same stuff popping up and no real contribution to our our community. It's you guys are doing a great job with it. So we all appreciate it, even though a lot of us, I'm sure, give you give you guys some crap a lot of the time. It's nice to have that place to go to.
Definitely.
But yeah, I know I've checked in on your YouTube before. You do some informative videos, a lot of newer openings and going through your cards that you get back from PSA or that you're going to send off. I remember one video in particular you did kind of about trophy cards, which was fairly recent.
Yeah, so I believe I think that was my networking video.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that was something that I really enjoyed making, and something that I think is fairly important that a lot of people um, overlook in Pokemon, which is just the importance of relationships,
Hmm.
and getting involved with people and getting to know people. And like I said in that video, there's like 3 steps to buying a trophy card. One is having the money to buy a trophy card. The second is knowing who has the trophy card. And the third is making sure that the person who has the trophy card will give you the time of day,
Right.
um, and even speak to you and entertain your offer. Um, so when you build relationships and stuff, you can clear those 2 final steps out of the way, you know, um, where you can, if you know someone who has trophy cards, you can go to them and say, "Hey man, I'm interested in this card." And even if they don't want to sell it at all, you'll at least get a message back.
Hmm.
And maybe you can say to them, "Hey, well, if you ever do consider selling, come to me first."
Right.
And they probably will.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I'm huge on relationship building and all that. It's one of my favorite things to do. Um, whether it's a Pokemon or in my real life work, I guess, or just my personal life, building relationships is so important. And to me, it's so much fun. That's the reason I'm doing this podcast, is so I can talk with the people that I've wanted to talk with and build relationships with them, because it's fun to hear your guys' stories, and um, there's definitely a little bit of selfish motivation behind it, because I want to copy a lot of you guys and what you're doing, and so I can expand my knowledge and expand my, I guess, portfolio of Pokemon. But it's so much fun just getting to know all you guys and understanding how you got to where you were. Um, it's just because you get to see so many different cool things. Like, I know so little about the XY era, about the EX era, about this all what I consider modern or just outside of WotC. So it's so informative just having the time to talk with you about this stuff and getting to take a look at cards that I don't really spend the time of day to look at. It's really cool.
well, thank you. It's a blast to be on the podcast, and I'm actually really glad that you've started this up, because it's been something that we've talked about on the forum for a long time. It's like, oh, we got to start a podcast. Like, someone's got to do it. Uh, and every now and then, when we get together at Worlds, I'll try to, or in person, I'll try to get a couple people together and throw a podcast together on a crappily recorded mic, um, with like 6 people. But yeah, it's great that you've sort of taken the initiative to get this started and put the time and effort into it. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes, and hopefully you'll be able to get get some more great collectors on. I don't know if I'd count myself among those ranks, but
Oh, no, of course. No, you're
I'm
you're
sure
you're the
with
biggest
the previous
collector
ones you're
of
getting.
Japanese EX. of
I
PSA.
will say that.
So that's somewhere
I
to.
think I am the only person who has all of the Japanese EXs in PSA 10.
Well, there you go. See, you're one of the best collectors that I know, in at least of that era. But yeah, I've listened to your podcast, and I remember like one of the very first ones. It was I believe it was at Anaheim. It was Scott and Dan and I think maybe Zach, someone else. So it's always enjoyable to see those groups of guys get together. So I definitely are you planning on going to London by any chance?
Planning on it.
Okay.
I think it's just right now sort of working out the flights, which is
Yeah.
like I'm watching flights and they keep jumping up from like 500 to 800 and then back down to like 450 or something. So I'm just waiting for like a good flight at a good time that doesn't have like a 12-hour layover in like
Yeah.
Madrid or something.
Well, you got to be sure to do it from a different computer because they're always watching and raising the prices.
Yeah, man.
So when you're ready, you got to go to like the local library or something and buy the ticket from there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and definitely another Elite Four podcast with a whole group of guys. It's always fun to listen to all you guys get together. So yeah, that's one thing that I need to. I mean, I've kind of run out of at least my personal friends within the community that I've been able to do a podcast with. So venturing in, with you and then hopefully expanding that to I know Silver Snorlax would be a great person to have on, and some of those other guys that I haven't had the chance to talk with. So I just want to thank you again. I'm at about an hour here, so I just want to thank you again for your time and sharing your story with us. And it's very informative and fun to learn about the stuff that I'm not used to chasing. So thank you for that. And thank you for all the crap you put up with on E4. It's
well, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And I'm definitely hopefully I'll be seeing you at London as well. So I'm still working on my flights too, but I'll get there somehow.
Awesome.
Great. Well, again, guys, if you want to see some of 4-Star stuff, you can Fourth Star stuff. You can follow him on Instagram at FourthStarTCG. Same name on YouTube as well. Check out some of his videos. You can go all the way back in time and see from a few years ago of some fun openings of, I guess, now vintage stuff.
Go too far back, though. Man, some of my old videos are very cringy.
Those are the best ones. But thank you again, and have a good one, guys.